Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are going deep on this legal drama with Grant Cardone,
Oh,
the
yeah.
real estate investor and motivational speaker.
You're 10X guy.
Yeah, the 10x guy.
Yeah.
Basically, he's got this whole thing about setting your goals like 10 times higher
Yeah.
than what you think you can achieve.
Right.
So you guys sent us a ton of information, legal documents, online reviews, even like
Oh, wow.
social media commentary,
Yeah.
and it's getting really messy.
It is fascinating. What's so fascinating is that, he started this whole thing suing someone else for defamation.
Yeah.
But it really seems like it's backfiring.
Yeah, it's like he shot off this legal rocket,
Yeah.
and now it's turning around and coming right back at him. So
Right.
for everyone listening, let's rewind a little bit and set the stage. Grant Cardone claims to be a billionaire real estate mogul, but not everyone's buying it.
Exactly. That's where John Legere comes in.
Yeah.
The former CEO of T-Mobile. He called Cardone a con man.
Oh, wow.
Publicly, questioned his billionaire status, even predicted that Cardone might find himself in some legal trouble.
And he was right. Cardone didn't just sit there and take it. He fired back with a $100 million defamation lawsuit
$100 million.
against Legere.
That's wild. And now, this is where we take our deep dive. The legal process of discovery has led to some pretty shocking accusations.
The discovery.
Yeah.
So that's where both sides have to show their evidence.
Yeah, like show and tell. You can't hide your toys in discovery.
Right.
And some of the toys they've had to show are pretty bad.
Okay, so for instance, there's the testimony of Susan Cheyenne, Cardone Capital's former chief financial officer. This isn't just some random employee. We're talking top of the company.
Right. And she's made some pretty serious statements. I mean, according to reports, she told law enforcement officials that she was afraid of going to prison for her work at Cardone Capital.
Oh, wow.
And she's also claiming that the company destroyed evidence to keep the police from finding out about some stuff.
Wait, so are we talking like burning documents? This is like out of a movie.
It really is. But if we step back and think about the bigger picture, all these accusations, they raise some red flags about how Cardone's businesses are actually run and whether his claims about all his wealth are even true.
Okay, so we've got possible financial issues and a cover-up. This is already juicier than that reality TV show he was on. But wait, there's more. Remember how Cardone said that all of Legere's accusations cost him opportunities?
Yeah.
With Fox News and A&E?
Oh, yeah. The lost opportunities? Wow.
Right.
Legere's legal team, they're trying to get information from those networks, subpoena them.
Right.
And Cardone's lawyers are fighting like crazy to block it.
So that's kind of suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Like, why put up such a fight? Unless you have something to hide.
Right.
It's like, let's check a damn curtain. They're saying, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, but you just want to look more?
Yeah, exactly.
Another contradiction. Cardone claims his reputation is ruined by all of this, by what Legere said. But we still see him on Fox Business after the lawsuit was filed. So
is his reputation really that bad? It's almost like his attempt to silence the critics has actually made things a lot worse.
yeah,
Like a Streisand effect kind of thing.
Streisand effect.
Yeah.
Now that sounds interesting.
You know, like when Barbara Streisand tried to stop a picture of her house from being online and it just made the picture go viral? It's kind of the same thing.
So it's like by trying to hide the bad press, he's actually making it bigger.
Exact.
That's funny. And then there's that apartment complex, the Manor at Flagler Village. You sent us those reviews.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like after Cardone's company took over, the ratings just plummeted. People are complaining about everything, broken AC units, management not responding. It's a mess.
It's a whole other side to this story.
Right. So it's not just legal trauma and questions about finances. We're talking about real people living in these properties.
Right. And it raises some questions about Cardone's priorities. Is he more concerned about protecting his image or taking care of his tenants? But before we get into that, let's dive deeper into the lawsuit. There are a few key players and some events. That, I think, will help us understand this whole thing.
I love a good deep dive.
Let's go.
Lead the way. So before we went down that rabbit hole, we were talking about how Cardone's company took over that apartment complex, the Manor at Flagler Village. And it seems like things went downhill for the residents.
Yeah, big time, it seems like. Cardone's reputation as this, real estate expert is taking a serious hit.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if these two things are connected, you know? Is it just bad management at the complex? Or is there something more going on?
I like where you're going with this. So let's get back to that lawsuit. You mentioned some key players and events.
Yeah. Remember Susan Cheyenne, Cardone Capital's former CFO.
The one who said she was afraid of going to prison.
Yeah. Her testimony is.
Big deal.
And that the company was destroying evidence.
Exactly. And when you look closer, the details are really interesting. She didn't just say these things casually. She reportedly made these claims while talking to law enforcement.
Whoa. So this isn't just like gossip. This is a potential criminal investigation.
It could be, which would explain why Cardone and his lawyers are trying so hard to control the narrative. You know, if there is an active investigation, they don't want to say anything. That could hurt their case.
Okay, so we've got Cardone suing Legere, but his own former CFO is making some pretty serious accusations to the police. And Cardone's trying to silence Legere, which is just making everything worse. It's like a big tangled mess.
Yeah, it's a perfect analogy, but it gets even more tangled. When you bring in those subpoenas, remember how Cardone said he lost those opportunities? With Fox News and A&E?
Yeah, because what Legere said.
Yeah.
And now Legere's lawyers want those networks to testify, and Cardone's freaking out.
Exactly. But think about it. If Cardone was telling the truth about losing those opportunities, wouldn't he want those networks to confirm that? It would make his case stronger.
Yeah.
But instead, his lawyers are blocking those subpoenas.
That is super suspicious. It's like he's hiding something.
It raises so many questions. What are those networks going to say? Did Cardone really lose opportunities? Or was he exaggerating? And why is he so worried about them talking?
It seems like he's accidentally proving Legere, right?
Yeah.
It's that Streisand effect again.
You got it.
But we can't forget about those residents at the manor. Their complaints, they add another layer to all of this.
Right. It's like we're seeing two different sides of Cardone. On one hand, there's this charismatic entrepreneur talking about his wealth and success.
Yeah.
But then you have these people struggling with everyday problems like broken air conditioners and management that doesn't respond.
Right.
And because of this lawsuit, those two sides are clashing.
Yeah.
It makes you question the story that Cardone tells about himself.
Okay, so we've got this legal drama and financial mysteries and real people being affected. But there's another piece to this puzzle. We need to talk about online influencers.
Yeah.
And how they build their empires.
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of this story. You know, Cardone built his brand on social media using YouTube and Instagram to promote his 10X philosophy and gain followers.
Right, he's all about that hustle harder message.
Yeah, and a lot of people love it. But here's the thing. When you're an online influencer, your image is everything.
Like portraying a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
To get followers and sell product.
Exactly. The more successful you seem, the more people will buy into what you're selling.
But what happens when that image starts to fall apart?
Well, in Cardone's case, it's turning into a disaster, this lawsuit, and everything that's come out of it is ruining his credibility.
And it's that Streisand effect again, right? By trying to control the narrative, he's just making things worse. It's like the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
Except in this case, it seems like all publicity is bad publicity for Cardone.
Yeah.
But we still need to talk about that YouTube video you
Oh,
mentioned.
yeah. That video is really interesting. It gives us a look into Cardone's past and some of the other things that have been said about him. And it all connects back to the lawsuit.
Okay, I'm ready for another deep dive.
Let's go.
So we've gone from the lawsuit to like shady apartments, and now we're talking about YouTube.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How does this video fit in with everything else?
This video is not just some random thing. It actually goes into some of the same stuff. That's in the lawsuit. It's like people online are doing their own investigation using public records and what's on social media.
Oh, so it's like those internet detectives solving mysteries.
Yeah, kind of.
But this time it's Grant Cardone's business.
Exactly.
Okay, so what did they find out?
Well, one of the things they talk about is that Twitter Spaces thing, where John Legere first called Cardone a con man.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It was everywhere. But wasn't that just like one person's word against another?
Well, that's what Cardone wants you to think. But when you look closer, it seems like that Twitter Spaces thing was what started all of this.
Really?
Like it set off a chain reaction. More people started looking into Cardone's claims, and then eventually it led to the lawsuit.
So this online fight
Yeah.
turned into a huge mess for Cardone. It shows how powerful social media is.
Right.
One thing goes viral,
Uh-huh.
and it can change everything. In Cardone's case, it seems like it exposed him.
Yeah, it definitely did.
So what else is in this YouTube video?
Well, one interesting thing is that it shows some of the court documents that have become public.
From Discovery.
Yeah.
Remember we said it's like show and tell? What did they find?
It looks like Cardone's lawyers had to admit that some of the things Legere said are actually true.
Wait a minute. So the guy he's suing for defamation might be right.
It seems that way.
That's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it definitely makes Cardone's case weaker.
Right, because he said those statements were totally false
Yeah.
and that they ruined his reputation.
Yeah.
But if they're true,
Mm-hmm.
his whole lawsuit falls apart.
Exactly.
This is crazy. It's like his whole world is crumbling.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Makes you wonder. What else is going to come out?
Yeah.
This is just the beginning.
And the video brings up Susan Shine again.
The CFO who was afraid of going to prison? What does it say about her?
The YouTuber says that she made those statements to law enforcement, so they're part of an official investigation.
Oh, wow.
And the video also says that Cardone's company told her to destroy evidence.
That's bad. It sounds like a cover-up.
Yeah, it definitely raises questions about how Cardone does business.
Right, and whether he's really as successful as he says.
Exactly.
Like every time we learn something new,
Yeah.
it gets worse.
Yeah.
But I still don't get how this YouTube video is connected to the lawsuit.
Well, it shows that these accusations against Cardone aren't new. They've been around for a while.
Wow.
And the lawsuit, it just made them bigger.
So the lawsuit is bringing everything to light.
Exactly.
And it's making us question the whole idea of influencer marketing
Mm-hmm.
and how far some people will go to look successful.
Right.
It's like we're seeing the real Cardone,
Uh-huh.
not the one he shows online.
And as the lawsuit continues, we'll see what happens. Will the real Cardone come out?
Yeah. Man, this deep dive has been wild. We started with a lawsuit, then we found out about money problems and shady apartments, and now we're talking about YouTube detectives.
It's a lot.
What's the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think it's important to remember that things aren't always what they seem, especially online.
Yeah, especially with influencers.
People try to create this perfect image, but there's always more to the story.
So be skeptical. Do your research.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly.
Because sometimes the truth is hidden.
But it's out there.
Well, that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the Grant Cardone lawsuit and all the twists and turns.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your exploration. Keep asking questions, keep digging, and watch out for those red flags.